Hey, what's up everybody? It's Ray Hennessy here. All right, so you clicked on that title and thumbnail to learn the one way to get the sharpest bird photos possible, right? Isn't that unfortunate that titles like that and thumbnails like that are what's always used to get you to click on the video? I feel like time and time again, I've been on YouTube and I click a video with a title similar to that, something that sounds exciting and amazing, and then I watch the video and the tiniest part of the video maybe has a little bit of something that referenced that content. And it feels so misleading and I feel so let down when that happens. I don't know if that's happened to you, but it happens to me a lot on YouTube. And it just feels unfortunate that that's how the game has to be played on YouTube, to try and get you to click on these videos and get these views. Instead of just putting in an accurate title with an accurate description and an accurate thumbnail that accurately represents what the content is going to be in that video. That would seem more honest, more accurate, and more helpful in the end. So, in any case, to talk about that one technique that is what's going to get you the sharpest photos, it doesn't exist. There is no one technique, 2 techniques, 3 tips, 7 amazing facts. There's no list of items that's going to give you the ability to just be an amazing photographer all of a sudden. You know what? The best thing you can do is get out and shoot. Get out and practice. Practice, 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 and shoot. You know what the biggest difference between the photographers that are telling you all these tips and the beginner photographer trying to learn from all of these tips is? Experience. That's the big thing. It's practice. So the photographers that are sharing these tips and suggestions to you aren't being deceitful. It's very likely that those suggestions and those tips and those techniques work really well for those photographers. What they're not telling you though is how long it took them to get good at those techniques. Usually it's not overnight. You can't just watch a video or read a suggestion and if you've never photographed birds in flight, go out and just start photographing amazing bird in flight photos. That's not how it works. You know what's going to work? Go out and shoot. You have to practice, practice, practice that stuff. That is the thing I want to get across here is go out and try yourself. Stop watching all these YouTube videos. Just go out and shoot. Have fun. Be in nature. That's the other thing, right? We sit here and we watch these videos and yes, it's great, helpful stuff to know the techniques that can be helpful and used by experienced photographers. That is a good thing to know. But to watch them and think that it's going to instantly transform your photography is, I think, a mistake. And it's not being out in nature. Why are we doing this, most of us? It's to be out in nature, connecting with these subjects, connecting with the birds and the wildlife that we love, just getting out here in these wonderful places. And watching these YouTube videos does not do that. So I urge you, get yourself out there and try and shoot, try and experiment. Practice and fail, trial and error, learn yourself. Those are the wonderful ways to learn. And it's very rewarding to learn that way, you know? Yes, go watch some of these videos for a short period of time and learn these quick techniques, not quick techniques, learn the thing that maybe you're struggling with and maybe get some help from that. But go out and practice it. You have to go practice this. The other thing that I think is important to keep in mind is what works great for one photographer doesn't necessarily work great for another photographer. I've watched a bunch of these videos myself, and the suggestion or the tip for the sharpest or best or whatever it is photo that the photographer is suggesting is exactly the opposite of what I would personally do. And that doesn't mean they're wrong. That's great and it works for them, but it completely does not work for me and the way I shoot. And that's fine. There is no one secret. There is no 5 tips that are going to solve everything. It's go out and figure out what works for you. And that is the point I'd like to share. The one last thing I think is important to understand with all of this sort of thing is a lot of these photographers are talking to many of you who are out with gear like this, more entry-level stuff. This is a 100 to 400 millimeter lens, not too expensive, a great lens. But you know what those photographers are out shooting with? A $20,000 rig. And they're getting photos that, sure, you can get them with this, not as easily as with this, okay? So it's not to say you can't get those amazing top-level photos with the entry-level gear. You certainly can, but you're gonna have to work harder at it. And you're gonna have to really, really know your gear because this gear makes it all easier. That's why we shoot this gear. That's why this gear exists. Because if you have the money and this is your job or this is your absolute passion and you have no problem spending the kind of money that something like this costs, of course you want to get this because it's going to increase your odds. It's going to make it easier to get those amazing shots. But most of us can't afford that, and I get that. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can get great photos with that entry-level gear, but you need to go out and practice. So that's the message I want to get. That's my one tip for going out and getting the sharpest or the most creative or the coolest backlit or the most in habitat, scenic, amazing shot that you can get is to go out and shoot, go out and practice, go out and figure out what you like, go out and figure out what works for you, and go out and fail. That's a great part of learning photography, is failing and trying and learning. It's something I still do to this day. You know, this year has been really big for me with my warbler photography to try and capture birds smaller in frame. And instead of using this very expensive, very fast, beautiful rig that gets beautiful portraits, I've been out using this 100 to 400 millimeter at 100 millimeter, trying to get these birds in habitat. And I've failed a lot. There's a lot of photos that in the moment I thought were gonna be great and they didn't work out. And you know how they got better? By trying and failing and figuring it out. That's what you should go out there and do. So like and subscribe. I'm kidding. I'm never gonna say that ever again.